everyone out there in podcast world. You're listening to or watching Service Business Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Tersh Blissett. Today's episode, I have one of my mentors, coaches, one of the guys that made a massive impact on my life, not just through the business, but personally too. We've been in each other's world for about a little over a year now. I can't believe it's been that long. It seems like that time has like really flown by, but and it really has. But our business has gone from a rebrand. We've grown over 300%. Hell, we grew 256% just in 1 month. And it's by that direct guidance and challenge. And it's weird because I've been part of other organizations before, and nobody's ever actually like held you to the fire. I mean, right now, if anybody knows me, they know me pretty well. They know that I'm into cars, and I have a challenge right now that I'm going to lose one of my cars if I don't complete it. So it's one of those things where it's like it's life changing, and it's weird to say that, because if I had told if somebody had told me that, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'd be like, nah, whatever. Like, what is it? You done drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, whatever. But it's weird because I truly am, I'm in that situation, and it has changed our life. And you can ask Julie as well. Whenever when we go to events, it's I see and I interview a lot of people throughout our, with the podcast. I mean, we're at episode 470, 475, something like that. So I've talked to a ton of people, and so there's a lot of times where excuse me, there are people who are very influential, but I don't think I've had an interview with anybody, or I've had a coaching experience with someone who, when you get finished with it, you're like, wow, like our life has changed. And it's crazy. I'll tell you this. I've never walked on fire before until I met this guy here. And I went up to New Jersey and had no qualms about walking on fire, following his lead. But with that being said, I really am appreciative that Mike would come on the show, and I'd like to introduce Mike Agugliaro with CEO Warrior.
Hey, what's up, Tersh? I'm super excited to be here today with you. Matter of fact, I was watching another one of your episodes, and I was like, Tersh, what's up? Like, you better get me on here. I probably said it in a way of like, you better let me start to set the world straight a little bit in the service industry. And I love what you were saying there, about other people speaking. There's a difference between information and transformation. And my whole goal has always been to not just give good information, but give transformational information. Mm-hmm. So at the end of a thought, the end of hearing a strategy, that you make an instant decision that you're going to change. And it's the same for everybody. I mean, everybody is stuck in some place, right? And they're stuck either in the mental place, right? We could talk a little bit about that, where, they think, hey, I got it either all figured out or not figured out at all. Either I deserve a better life or I don't. Either this industry is amazing or it's not. Or I got 1 foot in my business or 1 foot out of my business. Mm-hmm. And I get it, because the world, when I talk about the world, I'll let you know if I'm talking about the global world or the service industry world. And here's what I learned in the service industry world. And Tersh, you know this, but I'm saying it for anybody that's listening here. We're in over 40 different industries now. We're in pest control, plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, drain cleaning, remodeling, landscaping. The list goes on and on. But here's notoriously what I see in all these segments. There's a whole lot of hot air There's a whole lot. And I think, not only do I think, I know that there's been a period of time that in the service industry, we lost our way.
Mm-hmm.
And let me explain this in a minute. You know, when I go back to a kid, and I'm what I call level 50 now, that's a more powerful way to say 50 years of age. Level 50, you get wiser and stronger every year. When I go back to when I was a kid, even I went to a vocational school. I graduated in 1988. And when I go back then, I was already in the trades. And I look at, it was still like real strong men, real strong women, given real good quality service. And you stood for something. You really stood for what you did. And then I think it's probably within the last maybe 20 years or so, people got lost. And this service industry has started what I would call to become very dirty. And let me explain what dirty is. Dirty practices, manipulation, lack of integrity. And I knew that there would be a time that this would change. Now, look, anybody, most people that are probably listening to you, Tersh, or in the world probably know who I am. But if you don't, I'm not here to brag, but I'll let you know what I did only to make a point. Because if I don't make a point, why would you listen to me?
Exactly.
Why would you listen to me? And, you know, I built a company to 32 million. We did 200 million in 10 years. We had 165 trucks, 200 employees. And 3 years ago, I sold to a $40 billion company. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean I'm great. It means that I know the difference between right and wrong. I've learned the difference. And through these 20 years that I'm talking about, we've created an industry where we feel that we have to be trickery. We have to go out there and we have to call things different names to confuse customers. And we got to try to modify things. And it actually became pretty damn upsetting to me.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, Mike, why did you start this CEO warrior thing? And hands down, it was to change an industry. And I may not have shared it this way before, but an industry that's become very ego-driven, very dirty-driven, very manipulative. And I don't like that. I think they gave a bad name where we got to start calling things like, you know, triple flux igniters and stuff.
Yeah.
We've become an industry of trying to learn ninja sales, translation, manipulation. And I don't believe you have to do any of that. I believe that you can live in a state. And guess what? I knew there's a point where convergence comes in. And Tersh, let me tell you about convergence. Convergence is the moment where the superhero meets the villain. Okay. And the superhero, I'm not the only superhero. When I say I'm talking about CEO warrior as a whole. We're not the only superheroes, but I'm going to put us in the superhero bracket, meets the villain. The villain is what you're seeing right now being taken down. You're seeing people that are getting caught for doing manipulative bad practices, and the world is no longer going to tolerate it. So they're slamming the sledgehammer on these people. There's no longer a day you're going to walk around and brag you sold something for 40 times the price of what it should be. Now, don't get me wrong. Should you make an amazing living? Should you know your prices? Should you charge the right price for your company? Yes. Should you listen to somebody in some Facebook group that says, you should just raise your prices? Somebody who doesn't know your business, doesn't know your area, doesn't know your position. Should you just go, oh, I guess I should be a couple hundred more an hour? No, listen, not all information is great. And some information people are getting today, Tersh, it's the right information at the wrong time.
Yep.
And you have these, what I'll call these puppets in the world, these smiling puppets, right? These big mouths of the world running around. And because they now have a business, you know, and I don't want to be too rude, but congratulations, puppy dogs, right? You now grew a business to 2, 3, 5 million. And now you have an ego that you think is serving you, but it's actually hurting people. It's hurting people. because you now are telling people to do things that are not scalable over time. So I tell you, all of you should be on tablets. I don't know if all of you should be on tablets. Should you be? Do you have to be? Is it a right now thing? You know, there's always, you should wrap your truck like this. I don't know. Is it the right color, right shape, right time, right market? Is there any strategicness put through it? And this is the part where I'm so excited, Tersh, because of this convergence that's happening. I do believe that the superhero always wins. I think no matter how much the villain throws kryptonite, no matter the superheroes come in, and that's our number one purpose. And please, anybody listening to this, I'd like to think a big difference between us and the rest of the world is I am not here today to convince you to do anything. I'm not here to convince you to buy something from me, to join me, or even believe me. I'm only here to serve an industry. And I think that's what makes us very different. And I've seen, Tersh has had so many people on this podcast. Yeah. You know, I'm a believer that if I deliver value to and it makes sense, you might say, maybe I should learn more. And if not, it is perfectly okay with me. I want to at least instill some different thinking in you. A thinking of, is your business, when you go to bed at night, do you feel really good? And I used to say this, Tersh, when I kiss my kids, which now my son is 21 years old. He's got a big old beard. He's deadly as can be, runs his own combat and martial arts training business online. And my daughter's 18 and runs her own online yoga business already. And like when I kiss my son, which I do just about every single night before I go to bed. Last night I walked from downstairs down and I'm getting a big whole bunch of beard in my face and stuff. I know that I'm kissing my kids with very good, clear, integrity lips. Mm. And this is something that we set forth 6 years ago, and Tersh has heard this before. It's to change the damn industry. Let's get it back to what it was like when your grandfathers did it. The same morals, the same ethics, right? Let's get it back. And I would like to say that hands down, I know CEO Warrior has made an impact in changing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lives and giving them a way to believe in business, believe in that you could do business and love it and love your people and love your customers in a way and know that you're making an impact and you're going to change the world. So that's a lot to be said, but
I mean, there's so much information there to unravel at the same time, because, and everything that you said there is absolute truth. I mean, like you touched a little bit on the 9 pillars, even though you didn't come out and say it. And I have it on my wall right here. I mean, I have them pinned to the wall. And I would come back with, I love the fact that within CEO Warrior, whenever somebody asks, hey, what's the average, what should your average ticket price be? Or what should our average conversion rate be? Or what should, the average conversion rate of a CSR or an average conversion rate of a service expert? And every time the response is not cookie cutter at all. It's, well, what were you doing before? And then you're working, there's no like, oh, industry standard says you need to be at 30%, or you need to do 33% of this or 80% of that. And there's always this working towards excellence type mentality. And I love how nothing is ever, well, your van should have this logo on it at this place, or and you should always be this color. Just the fact that you have to take into consideration your entire area, and that's a huge thing. And it goes back to, and nothing's pushed on you either. And that's what I like about it. It's like, all right, exactly the way service calls are run for a service expert. The options are offered to you, and you make your decision based off of everything that you're being offered. And before I first came to the first event that I went to, I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine up in Charleston. We were at a soccer tournament for my kids, and he's in the industry with the business up in Charleston. And I was like, and he was like, he was very familiar with CEO Warrior and Mike A and everybody. And I was like, I'm not changing my band. I'm not changing my logo. I'm not changing my colors. I'm not changing my name. I'm not doing any of this stuff, and I'm not joining it when I go there. And I was going up there like the next week or something, and here we are. We rebranded. We've changed our logo to a lion. We're orange instead of blue, and every part of it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, why didn't I? It totally makes sense once it's presented to you, and it's not one of those things like, hey, look, that's stupid. You got to change it. we had a conversation yesterday, and it was hilarious. I mean, it's like, all right, do you want to keep doing it that way, or do you want to do it this way? And you presented what you said was not a better way of doing it, but what you found the most success with a lot of research doing this. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. So like, I'm here jotting down notes on everything to change on that in that particular item. But it was just like whenever I was at the first, was it SBGI? I feel like that's, or what was right before that?
Might have been Service Business Edge.
That might have been the event I was at. Okay, so I was there, and I was like, all right, we're getting into the service tech or the service expert portion of it. Like, here comes the voodoo. Like, what are we gonna do about, like, how do we, like, what have I heard somebody say before? Like, take your pen and drop it right in front of them so that they catch it, so that they put their, they feel obligated to sign the piece of paper with the pen and whatever. I'm like, this is what I'm expecting. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hang on, I got to take a break, because this is nothing like what I expected. Like, we're just offering options, and they're not even like misworded options. They're just
right.
And I was like, where do we get into the voodoo stuff, like talking people into stuff, like that's what I'm trying to figure out here. I want to get into the nuts and bolts of talking somebody into doing something they don't want to do, and we never got to that. And I was like, okay, all right, this is cool, like, I like this. And then I think it was, a couple hours later, I'm signing up for CEO Warrior and haven't looked back since. So
what's interesting about that, Tersh, is which I'm glad most of, not all of, but most of the gurus out there, no need to mention if they watch this, they know who they are. They have changed what they said. They have changed their belief system. They haven't turned around and said, oh, it's because the CEO Warrior, and that's okay. But they know that it's, the villains being called on the mat by me, because I don't believe in it at all. And, I've been in all kinds of organizations, like a lot of people listening to this. And I'm not saying they're good or bad, but I will tell you what's important in my world is I'm just as proud as the guy who's one guy in a truck is a guy who has 100 trucks. I don't look down if someone's small, and I don't look up if they're big. Everybody's equal, because at the end of the day, everybody in the service industry wants one thing, just a little better of a life. That's all they're looking for. A little more freedom, a little more wealth to help them, have some stability in life. Everybody's looking for the solution so that they don't have to tell their kids, I can't help you, or you can't have this. And that's all they're looking for. And when you get down to that fundamental thing of what everybody looks for, well, then you could start to build some solutions for them. And I remember being in an organization where all they did was talk about this one mega company. Well, there was a couple like, look at them. They got hundreds of trucks. They're amazing. You could be like them. And I said, yeah, but you're making me feel incompetent where I'm at today. I know maybe I want to get there, but you're making me feel like a loser today. I don't want to. What about this? Instead of just focusing on them, why don't you put me in my one truck on stage and tell me what to do? Yes. And it's so important, because I remember, and I won't mention this organization, I don't believe in them at all, but I remember walking up to a coffee table and a guy was there, And I was like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, oh, good. And I was like, and I said, oh, wow, what size company you run? He goes, I'm running 50 trucks. And I was like, wow. And he's, what about yourself? He's all distinguished. What about yourself? And I was like, we just bought our second one. I'm in one and my partner's in one. Yeah. And I'm like so excited. And they were used van, not like today. Everybody got these fancy Sprinter things. Man, we had, but it was, not only was it used, it was an extended van. It was awesome, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, it was nice to meet you. And he walked away. And I remember Tersh saying to myself, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's how this, I was like, oh, sorry, big shot. Sorry. Can you pull your shoes off so I can kiss your toes, please? Later, I found out.
Hey, was this the brown van with the screw hole in the side of it?
Yeah. I love that brown van. I love that. I love that. Actually, I wish if I could rewind time, I would have never got rid of those vans. I would have kept it as a memory.
Yeah.
What created. Yeah. But this person, later I found out he had 50 trucks, 45 didn't run, only 5 of them were working. He was broke off his ass and ready to go out of business. And then I made myself, just like when we built our service company, I wanted to build the service company I always wanted to work for. Same thing, the way we built CEO Warrior. I wanted to have, now we're a training and implementation organization, because I believe if you have the choice between a coach and a blueprint, you just need the blueprint. You don't have time. And I always say it, this, Tersh, I'm like, when we get on, if we're going to solve something, I'm like, I don't need to know about the dog and kids right now. Send me a text message later. Let's talk about solving a problem. Okay. And, I wanted to build a training and implementation organization that I always wanted to be in. One full of power, one that challenged you, then one that was a community, a real brotherhood and sisterhood. Really, if someone had a problem, they would grab you and lock arms and move forward. And this is not most guys. Well, I can't talk for everybody, but most military people, and thank you all the vets that are watching this and active military, they come to our world and they go, I'm in, because I've never felt a connection to other people like this besides the military, where someone is watching your back and has your back. And I get it, Tersh, we're not a fit for everybody, because some people, they just, they don't want to be surrounded. Like, we're a pack of wolves. That's just what we are. And I remember somebody said this to me, Tersh, this is years ago. They said, I wish I remember, but I hope he watches this. He goes, oh, those CEO warriors, those bunch of chest pounders. And I was like, oh, well, let's not forget who pounded their chest, like King Kong, Tarzan, like, hang on, maybe we should walk around like puppet strings with a big old smile on our face. Maybe that's a better way to do it. If you have a choice to living a life of feeling really strong, confident, powerful, serving your community, your family, your employees, or weak, trying to like, hey, everybody, good morning now. Let's sing our happy mantra. Good morning, everybody. It's like Barney or something. Yeah. And I found out a lot of people don't want to live in that world. They want to be in a world like you said. And I'm only upset that you said you might lose the car, and I'm not the one that's getting it, because normally I want to be the leverage. And
it's actually, Denise's granddaughter is going to get it, is what Denise said.
Man, you better get that task done. It's leverage, isn't it?
It is leverage. And as soon as it was made public in a Centurion call last Wednesday, and everybody in the group's like, ooh, like it was just, and somebody was saying, let's do 100 push-ups, and Denise is like, that's not Centurion level stuff. And so as soon as that car got put up, I mean, I had 3 text messages instantly. Hey, what do I need to do to help you to make sure that you achieve that target? And so, and then even since then, I've had guys in our group that are like, hey, what can I do to help? How are you at your level? Have you reached that level? Have you, picked up that top target? And it's really been an awesome experience.
How good does that feel to know that there's others looking out for you and not that just themselves? Because that's my world, when I was in an organization, I felt it was all about everybody was an individual. Everybody was like, it was about me, me, me. It was never about we. I'm not in CEO Warrior, and you know this, Tersh. Like, I'm not okay anybody suffers. I don't want anybody. I'm not okay like you're in our world and you're not winning or you're not happier or you're not. Look, in the end, I always said this, you could teach, I see these puppets out there. You could teach a puppet how to grow a business. You can't teach a puppet how to have an amazing life. So congratulations, you built a big business and now you're divorced. Congratulations. That doesn't sound like fun. Oh, you build a big business, but you look pretty unhealthy, like you're going to drop dead. Congratulations. No, I'm not happy. And I get some people have to maybe get separated. Maybe some people have health conditions, but a lot of people are focused on just grow the business and sacrifice everything else in their life. And I'm not impressed over a big business. I'm impressed over someone, their kids love them. They love their family. They're constantly working. I mean, I'm with my wife. Actually, our anniversary is coming up in 2 days. And I don't even worry about when we got married. I mean, we've been together for 35 years since we're 15 years old, you know, and I'm not saying that to impress anybody. Shit, it takes effort on both of our sides. It takes energy and it takes alignment and it takes clarity. You know what? That's what people should look at and say, you know what? I want to learn from Mike because of that. Or maybe because I'm doing martial arts for 35 years. I want to learn from CEO Warrior because I want that level of discipline. The rest of the stuff, listen, marketing, sales, operations, systems. Yeah, there's a formula, right? Yeah. But anybody can get the formula. The question is, do you have the level of mind capacity to execute on the formula? And most people don't because they've been stuck in this box, right? And look, I could break apart almost look, I think Tim Ferriss is an amazing person. He writes this book, 4-Hour Workweek. I think it's incredible. I always say how sad it is that you hate what you do so much. You only want to do it 4 hours a day. Good or what point. About this, the E-Myth? Great book. I read E-Myth Revisited 40-second version of E-Myth. I couldn't figure out how to put a damn process in place. I had to go get someone to say, let me grab your hand and show you. Now what I learned, and you know it because you've been in our world, now I can show you how to, in 15 minutes, build a process. You know why? Because here's the deal. It's not a one size fits all. You think what happens in one, like it's a generic thing. No, this service industry is very different service industry than some other business out there. It's very different. The way people think, I mean, we're the strongest blue collar industry out there is us. And we've been an uncivilized blue collar industry. And then we've been a lost industry where people are doing this manipulative. And now finally we're coming together and I'm working at leading the CEO Warrior. I mean, I'm one of the founders with my partner, Rob Zadati. We're looking to lead change, period. I want to get it back where you strap on your uniform, you put on your service uniform, and you feel like you're the most important human on earth. And you should be. You should be, because everybody who's running around, Tersh, they're like, oh, thank you, nurses, and thank you, doctors, all these essential workers. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Who's going to mention, what about the plumber that came to your house, climbed in sewage and crap, and majored? We're forgetting about, let's talk about, if all the plumbers, HVAC, electricians, all these people go away, you can't even do your doctor stuff. Now, I'm not saying they're not important. They are. Right. But let's talk about really who's important. The blue collar service industry, we're the most important out there. We keep the damn infrastructure of the whole mechanical system of how you live today. Look, people lose electricity and they're panicking, not because the electricity's out, not because their food's rotten. They can't get on Facebook.
They can't charge their phone.
Right? I mean, that's like our real world problem is you can't charge your phone, not the meat and all this other stuff.
So what do you think about one service company actually offering more than one trade? I mean, is that good, bad, or I mean, or is it depending on them, or is there circumstances that you would say that's not a good idea?
The world has changed. They used to say riches and niches. They used to say, you got to be in plumbing and you got to be the #1 plumbing company. And that was a great belief system 15, 20 years ago.
Gotcha.
Let me tell you what changed. Walmart, Target, Costco, Home Depot, Lowe's, all of a sudden, humans were getting conditioned to go to one place and get as many things as they can. Now, I didn't make this decision alone, and I believe we were when the service company I owned, Gold Medal, I believe we were the forefront. Yeah, there were some companies back then that did, plumbing and electric, but very few did plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, drain cleaning, one-day bathroom solutions. Like very few did all that. Here's how I came to this realization, Tersh. I went to a customer's house. They were a customer for 20 years for me and Rob. I go there, her kitchen is brand new. I didn't do the electric. So I said, oh my God, the kitchen is beautiful.
Yeah.
Who did it? And she goes, look, I'm sorry, I felt bad, but the contractor and the plumber that they had, that company also did electrical and air conditioning. It was just too convenient. Boom. I went home that night and I started to just think about things. That experience, Target, Walmart, all this stuff. And I said, holy shit, the #1 thing people want is convenience. They want a one-stop shop. And that's when we came together and said, that's it. We're going to do electrical, plumbing, HVAC, drain, everything. We're going to become the one-stop shop. And I learned a lot along the way. Let me give a big nugget to everybody. We used to say we do plumbing because we did. And Tersh, I used to think that if someone had a clogged drain, they would think of a plumber.
Oh yeah, good point.
They don't. They think of a rooter company. They think of a drain cleaning company. So one day I figured this out by surveying my customers. Hey, the first thing that when you have a plumbing problem, who do you think about calling? And they started saying for a drain problem, rooter company and all this. And I said, holy crap. I rechanged our branding. I added drain cleaning. We took our drain cleaning from $1 million to like 3.5 million in a year because you know what? They didn't think about like little
that
critical
clarity.
Things. Little critical things. So today, I believe that a one-shop stop, not only does it make sense for your customers, also it goes to this. If you wanted to make an extra $1 million a year in your company, you could get 1 million customers to pay you $1. You could get one customer to pay you $1 million. Why don't I worry about less customers and serving them with everything they need? Here's what the real question, Tersh, is why don't people do that more? Well, it seems really confusing and I don't have the license. I mean, we did 19 million in HVAC and I know how to do electric. That's my background. I'm electrical license. I had my inspector's license. I know electrical really good. I don't know how to charge an air conditioner. I don't know coil size. I know none of that, but we did 19 million. I didn't have the license. Here's what I learned is one, it's not as hard as you think to bring on another trade. And two, most people in our world at CEO Warrior, we teach them how to bring on other trades. It changes their life forever. We make the complex very simplistic. And when you're surrounded by as many warriors that we have, how cool is it? I want to get into plumbing. It's like, oh, perfect. I'm going to give you this resource, meet this person. We have people in less than 30 days going in another trade and adding millions to their business overnight. And you could share because you're in my world. I could just be blowing smoke. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's 100% true because we've had people who have been doing septic tanks for 60, 70 years. And they're like, hey, we're going to bring on HVAC. And then 3 HVAC contractors, including myself, we're like, hey, if you need anything, let us know. I mean, it's so much of a camaraderie and the organization is such a brotherhood that they've called and said, hey, I can't get this part figured out. And I've said, hey, let me know and I'll come up there and do a ride along with your lead HVAC guy. Like,
Yeah.
where else do you have somebody that's been in the industry since 2005 that is not going to charge you anything and just say, hey, I'm going to come up there and take it and do a ride along with you for, a couple of days. And, that's very common within the organization. And, we've got people that are coming here that are going to do a ride along just to see how, and they're larger than us and they're going to see what we do that's different. It's, it's really cool, having that just, there's no doubt about it. And it's 100% sincerity. And there's nothing that we're going to get back out of that, or there's nothing that we expect to get back out of that. We know
Respect.
that we're going to get something, but we don't expect that other than that. Yeah. Like you said, respect, getting that. And it's legit. I don't know. So going last year, this was the oddest thing in the world to me. Like next level odd to me. It was, we joined, I think June or July of last year. I should know that date. I should have it like a celebration, honestly. But the date that we joined was, it was in that summertime period. About November, December-ish, we started doing war planning, which is what we're planning out our goals and our targets, top targets for next year. And then a little while later, Mike gets on this thing and he's like, be prepared for 2020. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's be prepared for 2020. I expected this is going to be like at the end of 2018, Mike probably said, hey, be prepared for 2019. Let's kill 2019. Let's just like go through it. And then it was like, no, I'm serious. Be prepared for 2020. And I'm like, all right, cool, man. Be prepared for 2020. Got it. And he's like, no, like seriously, something's happening in 2020. Be prepared. I'm like, all right, Mike, you're starting to scare me. Like, and then I was like, okay, cool. We'll be prepared. And so we're like, all right, like, this is new territory to me. So I hadn't even been in a full year. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen and follow blindly. Like, even if this doesn't make sense to me, I'm going to do this. And, we were actually looking at acquiring another business and they're like, hey, let's just put a hold on that. Let's do this. And then the pandemic happened and I'm like, what the hell, Mike? Like, are you a psychic? Like, what, how did you know this? And then all of a sudden, like, we have guys around us dropping like flies. And then here we are growing the month that it died, we grew 256%. And it was like, what the heck just happened? Like, how did Mike know this was coming? And so with that being said, with me prefacing that, like, what am I expecting with 2021? Like, is there any insight there?
Yeah. And if you notice, Tersh, because you're in this world with me, all the big mouths, all the Facebook big mouths, where'd they all go?
Right.
They all
got quiet real fast.
Real fast, they got quiet, right? Couple reasons. One, lack of integrity. And, the states are coming after people. And I'll give all of you a warning out there. If you're one of those people standing in front of your company saying, you got to sell, close the deal, you got to make it, you'll probably end up on Channel 7 News and you'll be one of those big mouths that become quiet and disappear real quick too. So I will tell you, do the right thing. Here's what we knew, Tersh. And one thing we knew is I knew with the election year, the stars were aligning for a little bit. Look, when you got a president like Trump, and when you got someone who's going to shake the earth up, and I'm not telling anybody who to vote for, nothing, vote for who you want. I do believe there's one direction that will help us and one direction could send us into a state of recession that none of you have ever experienced. And then it will just be like some of the other presidents, we're going to make a change. And they're like, maybe I made a bad decision. So maybe really do your homework here. The interesting part was, as an industry standard, they were 27% below. That was in March. People were 27% below. The average person in our world was like 80 to 150% above. Why? Well, preparation. You had to understand. Here's what 2021 looks like. First, I'm excited about the rest of this year. And because, again, when I talked about the industry convergence, you're seeing a convergence amongst humans right now.
Mm.
People are really clear on one thing: what they like and what they don't like, what they want and what they won't tolerate. That's, I bet everybody listening to this knows how they want to live, the size of house they're going to live in, how they're going to live with their kids. You know, Tersh, my wife and I, we homeschooled our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were always the black sheep of the family. Nobody in my family's ever done that. Now look, now everybody's homeschooling. They don't know what the hell to do. They're panicking all over the place, right? They're panicking. Here's what I would say. I've been talking about this slingshot effect that's happening. And people, all of you out there in the industry that you're listening to this, you're like, and you're not in my world, and you're like, oh, we're so busy too, Mike. Oh, really? Do you know the possible resets that might come?
Right.
Because let's face it, anybody, you were either strategic or you were strong enough just to not know any better. You fought against the mask and whatever, everyone else, everything that was happening, you made money. We had 3 stages of slingshot. We had the first one where this thing was starting to pull back, and that happened in right around February. It started to pull back. And then we hit March, we hit this craziness, this COVID thing, which I'm still can't make rational realization out of this thing. I have my own belief about it, but anybody who really looks at analytics just knows that this is just a grenade thrown at an election year here. But the slingshot was pulling back of opportunity because people were setting in with their money. They're saying, wait, let me see. But what people were confused about is they weren't saving money. They were spending money in different ways now. People had a lot of money, and they still do. They canceled their weddings, their vacations. And then as we started to head into the slingshot pull back, we started to head into May and June, and slingshot 1 went forward. It let go, not all the way. People said, it's summer. I'm willing to die, and it's okay. I'll go to the beach, even if I die. Like you watched it. Yeah. People are doing it. I'm going to have a picnic. It's very tough to stop human interaction. It creates depression and so many other things. So a lot of spending happened this summer. So slingshot 1 got launched. Right now, as we head into the election into November, you're going to see slingshot 2 get ready to be launched. Now, if you understand buying patterns, it's not about this. People go shoulder season. Right. Just so you know, anybody in this industry that talks about a shoulder season, and if anybody's watching this doesn't know what that is, that's like fall and spring. They're like, every year we're slow in fall and spring. I call it lack of education. You just don't know what to do. You don't know how to market. You don't know how to do your business. Well, what happens is there's behavioral drivers that drive money no matter what season. The holiday season, I guarantee people are already spending money now, because before you used to say, well, like me, a week before Christmas, we'll run around. We always spend too much money because we're last minute. Yeah. You don't have to do that now, because now you'll just go online and punch buttons. So right around election time, you're going to get slingshot 2 is going to let off, and people are ready to do the next level of enhancements. My wife and I were driving down the Jersey Shore, because that's where we live now full time. And the amount of construction, I'm always like, people in the service industry, when you drive by and you see a house being built, you're like, yeah, you're like, yes, the service industry hard at work, right? And it's funny, I say the same thing because we do a bike ride around the bay. And every time I see somebody working on Saturday or Sunday, and my wife will go, oh, look, they're working. And I go, they should be working. They're men. You know what I mean? It's exactly what they should be doing Saturday morning. I'm always so proud of like real hardworking people. So this slingshot's getting ready to let loose. Based on what happens with the election, I'm excited that slingshot number 3, and I really feel it's going to launch, and that's going to be January, February. And why I'm so excited is because in my world at CEO Warrior, we've already built and have some of the most fastest progressively growing service companies on earth right now, taking market share. And we have taken more companies from a couple guys in a couple trucks to 10, 15, $20 million than anybody out there. And with this slingshot effect, I believe it's going to open up a gateway for a lot of my warriors that I believe are going to build some of the biggest companies, and they're going to exit. They're going to exit in the next 36 to 48 months, and they're going to become wealthy, and they're going to do really good things in the world. And some of them are going to go for another shot at it, which will probably be another 3. And I want to talk about selling in a minute, another 3 or 6 years, and they'll go for another round, and you'll see more 50, 60, $70 million companies on the planet than ever before. This is the purge. Okay. The 2008 economy, we had a purging. It was literally cleanse the world. Contractors went out of business. They didn't know how to run a business. We recovered. Contractors grew. The COVID situation was a mini purge. It knocked, like if you were sitting there on your couch waiting for this all to go away, you pretty much told your wife they're going to come and take our home soon. That's the reality.
Real quick, day. Mike, can I tell a story about that? So a fellow warrior who is, man, he's making waves. I won't mention his name, obviously, but he completely capitalized on that exact situation. Wasn't in the HVAC space. A local HVAC company was sitting when they were just sitting on the couch when COVID happened. And then they were like, we're going to wait on PPP. As soon as we get PPP, we're going to start paying you guys and we're going to give you all this stuff. And then they got it and they mismanaged that funds. And the whole company was like, man, screw this guy. Like, we're trying to find something else. Well, my buddy, he picked up one of them, and then word got that they picked him up and that how great it was. And then all of a sudden the whole company came over to him, and it's like instant HVAC division. And now he's just killing it with HVAC. And it's so true because he was ready. He had the money set aside. He was prepared. He seen what was happening, and he was super freaking active during that time. And then one of the things that I really attribute to CEO Warrior was like, I very, very easily could have taken, the month of May and said, hey, we're going to see what's going to happen here. Like it was a real fear as a service business owner, the uncertainty. You're getting your PPP or the other loans that they were giving you. And it was almost like, hey, let's get this and sit on it because we don't know what's happening. Well, Mike and everybody, Rob and Larry and Denise and just everybody, they're like, nah. Mike Disney, don't want to leave Disney out either. They're like, nah, you're not gonna do that. We're growing right now. We're gonna challenge you to have your best month ever. And we're like, okay, challenge accepted. Best month ever contest. All right, we got this. And so then it's like, okay, like constantly checking in. And then a month that really could have been a drag month was, we grew 256%. And it was the weirdest thing in the world because the previous year, so it was 256% over previous May. And it was like that May was not a bad month. It was your normal, effect that you have every summer. Like it was a steady slow incline into the summer months. And so it wasn't like we had a bad May the previous year. And it just blew me away. And even we were talking in our AIM group, which is our small niche group that's inside of CEO Warrior, that we were talking and we're like, man, this is crazy. All we're doing is implementing the things that we're being told, like this is best practice. This is what you should be doing, X, Y, and Z. And here we are, we're scaling. And then you're like, well, I'm struggling here. And so inside of our AIM group, we're like, oh, well, this is what you need to do. And it's the weirdest thing because inside of our AIM group, like you said earlier, like there's guys in there that are at 8-10 million. And then there was me that was at like 500,000, or 700,000 last year. And so, it's just the wildest thing. It's not one of those things where it's like, hey, look at this company, they're doing 32 million. Like everybody do what they're doing, because you know and you understand that if you're one guy in a truck, you're not going to have the same HR department that someone that's at 10 million is going to have. And that's something that was really hard for me whenever I first started, because I instantly had that mentality. Whenever I was sitting at that round table up in New Jersey, I'm like, dude, Bart, he's like, I'm living like I got to get to there. Or Steve Adario, he was right there at my table. I'm like, he was my table lead at that event. And I'm like, oh man, we're both bald. We're buddies. Like,
Yeah.
but, and then, so I'm like, how do I do that? And then it's like, just steps along the way. And then it's like, man, we went to that event and the plug for that event. So whenever I went to that event, I was like, man, I don't know about this. Like I told you, I was talking to my buddy in Charleston, wasn't sure about it, left that event and within the next month made $100,000 off of stuff that we implemented from that event. And it was not even like inside CEO word stuff. It was just the stuff we took from that event. Because, you go to an event like that, and a lot of times it's like these videos that you watch, or the infographics on Facebook. And it's like, look how I did this, and I took my business from this to this, and all you got to do is click this to find out more. And it wasn't like that. It was like, here's everything you need. Just go do it. And it's like, wait a minute, you're giving me too much information. Like, you're giving too much stuff for free. This doesn't make sense, Mike. Like, why are we getting so much stuff for free? And so it was like one of those things where like, so I had these, if you can see this, I had these implementation cards that I got, and we, every time we go to an event, we have these cards that we use, the strategy optimizer cards. And I came back with a massive stack of them, and I was just putting them to work even before I was inside of CEO Warrior. And it was, man, it was before I did it, I was like, man, this is way too expensive for me, but I'm going to do it because I've seen so many people doing it. And I was actually peer pressured in by Mike Michalowicz, because I asked him, because I seen he was going to be a keynote speaker at the event I was at, and I was buddies with him. And I was like, hey man, is this worth it? And he was like, man, you're an idiot if you don't go. He said, I believe in it so much so that I'll pay for it if you don't want to. And I was like, all right, man, sold, I'll do it. So then I went and did it. And it was, I mean, it obviously like it was life-changing for real. And the only thing though that I have about that event was I had to take off 3 or 4 days, whatever it was, like kind of in the middle of the summer. And it was kind of our busy season, but it was like during the day. And at that time, there was only like 2 of us in the business really. And we went up there. Is there something, I know you've had that conversation a lot, like, hey, if we could just do this in the afternoons, it'd be a lot easier. Is there ever going to be something where we can do this in the evenings, or not have to take off that whole, full day during the week and type stuff? Is that a game plan or a thought process within y'all?
Yeah. I mean, we just built something, and I want to talk because wow, a lot of great information you gave everybody. I want to go back to the buying thing first. I want all of you to know, I want to protect a bunch of you that watch this from what I call hyenas. There's a difference between wolves and hyenas. Wolves are a pack. They're normally protecting the family, more than one person. And hyenas are these savage beasts that come from behind and they attack you.
Yeah.
Any of you guys that are thinking that watch this, do me a favor, for whatever it's worth. Don't let somebody who's like, hey, Tersh, I'd love to just come visit your company and hang out. And like, you don't know them and they're not in the pack of wolves. Don't do it. They don't have good intentions for you.
Good point.
Or also what I've seen, Tersh, today is this. Hey, why don't you send me your P&L and I'll evaluate it for you? Oh, congratulations. You just got eaten by the hyenas. Everybody really be careful out there. Again, Tersh is not telling you to come to CEO Warrior not. I will just tell you that we're very protective area and we protect each other here. And the other thing is that I find, a lot of people, we have our fingerprints on some of the fastest growing companies out there. I mean, a lot of them out, but they won't tell you this because like, they don't want you to know that we helped them. I mean, there's companies like in Florida, Best Services. There's other guys like Lou Habaika. There's guys like, Tommy Weber. I mean, there's companies all over the place. Probably, and I can't say all of them, but I'm going to say a huge percentage of some of the largest companies today and you admire have CEO Warrior fingerprints on it. Let me talk about the solution that we solved here. The solution that we solved was this. I realize that some of you, maybe some of you even watching this, you can't spend 3 complete days. And it's 40 hours over 3 days.
Yeah, it's not like you don't get off at 4 o'clock and go to the bar and hang out with everybody, chit chat notes. If you're going to hang out with somebody, you're hanging out with them. What's the only store that's open they don't have them here?
Wawa. Yeah,
Wawa, yeah. Wawa is the only thing that's open. If you're going to go hang out, you're going to hang out there for 30 minutes because you're getting off at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And it's for a reason. We do 40 hours over 3 days, because if you won't do 40 hours over 3 days, will you really do the work anyway? True. I mean, I just had a guy tell me he doesn't know why he's not growing. And he works like, 7 to 3. I'm like, I don't even know how you're going to, when do you, what customer has broken stuff 7 to 3? I don't even know what you're telling me. But I do realize a lot of people have given us feedback and they're like, I love it, but I can't lose 3 days of work. So we just came out and revolutionized a brand new training. I will tell you, let me give a little disclaimer. The fact that you have a credit card does not give you permission to come to this training. We're very different. We approve who comes to the training. You're welcome to say, I want in. If you could buy it online if you want, we will review you. And the last event we did, I think we told 4 people, sorry, we just don't see it as a great fit. We gave them back 100% of their money. Why? We want to know we got the right people in the room. It's very, very rare to end up on one of our trainings and go, that's a bad human there. That's an ego driven, because we just don't allow that stuff. So we came up and I said, well, I wonder, Tersh, if we could change more companies faster, easier, if we allow them to make money during the day and we train them at night. So we built Service Business Night School. I'm so pumped over this. I believe it's a brand new concept in the service industry. And Service Business Night School, it's real easy. It's 2 nights a week for 3 weeks. Okay, 2 nights a week for 3 weeks. It's roughly around 4 hours a night. We start late in the day. I think it starts at 6. It ends around 10. It's Eastern time. But guess what? If it's okay with you, I'll end when we're done, not when the clock strikes 10. Okay, because if we're not done, we're going to keep going. I always tell everybody, for our trainings, you got to bring your big boy or big girl pants, because you're coming to us because you want life to be very different in your future. You want life for your children, your family. And I know this better than anyone. I mean, I did not wake up one day knowing how to grow a business. I did it wrong for about 10 to 12 years. And I always say, if you want to know what my wife's life was like, it's like me trying to grow a company and dragging her through the mud. It was not the life my wife or my kids deserved. So any of you that are not giving your family the life they deserve, I challenge you to, if not consider what I have, consider something that can help you. But it's 3 weeks, 2 nights a week, Tuesday and Thursday. So you're going to be able to crank out on your Mondays, get your work done. You're going to be able to finish strong on Fridays. Here's what I'm so pumped about, Tersh, is before it's 3 days. So you're trying to implement stuff, but it's 3 days in a row, 40 hours. Now, Tuesday you learn, application Wednesday, Thursday we review, Thursday you learn, application till next Tuesday. Over three weeks, my prediction is we will easily make people, if not 25, 50, an extra 100 grand or more in less than 3 weeks. Now, look, we give $1 million guarantee. If by the second training, which is 8 hours total or more of training, you're like, you know what, this CEO Warrior, it's not a fit for me. I don't love it. No problem. Just send us back the workbooks. We'll give you a 100% refund. We'll probably send you a fruit basket and say, sorry that it wasn't a fit for you. That rarely happens that we ever give back $1 for our trainings. because we're really good at what we do. And it's a tax deductible, most of it, for wherever you live. So, you already get the benefit of that. We do send you for this training a huge experience. It's a big box like this. Mm-hmm. It's filled with a spiral bound workbook. It's got strategy optimizer cards. Here's the last thing I'll say about this for time's sake for all of you. You're going to leave with a 90-day blueprint. Your 90-day blueprint. Not some made up stuff, not some generic plan that everybody does the same 90 days. It's your plan, your company. We approve it. When you're done after 3 weeks, you'll know exactly what to do. The cool thing is you'll already be doing stuff before we finish building your 90-day blueprint. There is an incentive right now. There's a bunch of bonuses. Look, here's what I would say. If you want to attend this, here's a couple choices. You could go to servicebusinessnightschool.com and check it out. See if it's a fit. On there has our phone number and stuff. You could private message me on Facebook and say, hey, can you tell me more? I'll connect you with one of our growth advisors or one of our team. They'll make sure you're a fit for us and we're a fit for you. We promise we will not let you move forward if we don't feel that you're a fit. And yeah, I hope you'll consider it. For those of you that want to move quicker and get ready for stage 2 and stage 3 of the slingshot, I'll tell you this, if it's not us, you better find someone who you feel is really smart, where you have a power of proximity, you're around great people who understand this industry well. And if they're still, if these great people you're thinking about, if it's not us and it's someone trying to teach you to do something from 35 years ago, I got news for you. We didn't have iPhones. We didn't have Google. The world has changed. Get around people that are super modern, know exactly how to do it. And we're doing it with a whole bunch of companies in the world. So
that's so awesome. And Jerry Street's watching us live on Facebook. And he said implementation cards and a plan will leave you with your life-changing, with a life-changing mindset shift.
It must be on break because his ass is supposed to be on another training we're doing right now. So you better be paying attention. You have a whole training going on Ronan for presentation. I'm here because the other master advisors are teaching. You better be focusing, man. He's probably like, he's going to pull this on me, Tersh. He's going to be like, yeah, we're doing 2 days training on presentation and you're presenting right now, Mike. I want to watch. Don't pull that stuff on me, man.
Yeah. Joshua Stanley said he is 100% right. That's funny. That's funny. That's good stuff. Chris Davison, he actually had to jump off to go join his AIM call, which is, like I was saying, that's our mini groups that.
Oh, it's Friday. That's right.
Yeah. I'll be getting on that soon.
I'm always getting in trouble because, I got in trouble this time because we did these 3 trainings last week, Thursday, Friday, this week, Thursday, Friday, and next week, Thursday, Friday. And I got my ass chewed out by everybody. They're like, we have our AIM calls. We get together. What did you do? And I'm like, oh shit, I won't do that. I promise I won't do that no more. So I learned my lesson. I won't do that no more. For any warriors that are listening, we're not putting stuff on Fridays because I know how serious everybody is. That's like their SEAL Team 6, right? That's power. And I love it because we have so many generals that care so much about everybody in the group. Doesn't matter if you're one guy in a truck or you have 100 guys. It's such what a power that you could go to a group. And for those of you listening that are not in something like this, go find one. It's not us. Yeah, I love it, brother. I love it. You're one of them that serves so well. You got to be in a group where you could also be upfront and honest with people. Tell them, hey, man, I'm doing good or I'm not doing good. My wife loves me this week. She's pissed off at me. You got to have a safe place where you can talk openly. And then you're welcome in the big community too, but there's nothing like a small little group where you can be honest with no judgment. So I'm so pumped about that.
Cool, man. Mike, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Go to servicebusinessnightschool.com if you're interested. If not, I love all of you in the industry. If I could serve in any way, let me know.
Thank you, everybody. Be good. Be good. Thank you again for watching or listening to this episode of the Service Business Mastery Podcast. The podcast focuses on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. I hope you found value in this episode. I know I did, and I'm even in Mike A's world. If you are considering and you're not sure, you're on the fence, reach out to anybody. If you're watching this live, there's guys in this group. I mean, there's Scott Ober. There's guys in that chat feed that are saying, hey, if you don't know if it's worth it, let me know and I'll have a conversation with you. I'm the same way. Reach out to me. Let me know. Don't miss this event. There's other events that happen, but this is next level, because whenever we're at those events, it's like, man, I want to implement this. I want to implement this. I don't have time to implement it. I want to implement it now. This is the perfect storm. You have a day between each one of these classes, and you can implement it, and then you can come back with those questions that whenever you get feedback from your team, it's like, hey, what about this question? Like instantly you can come back to the next class. So honestly, it's going to be a no-brainer to join this class. And I think I'm going to be there too. I have to ask for Julie's permission, but anyways, with that being said, I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk again soon.